What if you could sketch a brilliant idea on a napkin and an AI could instantly turn it into a perfect professional diagram? Well, today we're going to explore a new system that's trying to do exactly that, bridging the gap between a fleeting thought and a totally finished product.
You know that feeling, right? You're brainstorming, ideas are just flying, and you quickly scribble down a flowchart or maybe a system architecture on whatever's handy. It's messy, it's rough, but the core idea, it's all there. And then, the hard part. Taking that chaotic sketch and translating it into a clean, structured diagram that you can actually share with people. But what if you could just skip that whole tedious step? What if an AI could look at your sketch, understand it, and build the polished version for you?
That's exactly what we're digging into today. You're going to see how this technology actually works, you'll understand its strengths and its weaknesses, and you'll discover how it could seriously change the way we all visualize our ideas. So, first things first. We need to get why this is such a tough problem for AI to solve. You see, creating a diagram isn't the same as, say, generating a picture of a cat. There's a much deeper logic involved.
And this slide really nails the key difference. When an AI generates an image, it's kind of like a painter. It's focused on aesthetics, making something look good. But a diagram AI has to be an architect. It has to focus on logic. Every single box, every arrow, it has a precise meaning. The goal is structural accuracy, not just a pretty picture.
And that brings us to the absolute heart of the matter, the structured diagram. It's not just a bunch of shapes on a page, it's a formal system. It represents rules and relationships, so an AI doesn't just need to see the drawing, it has to understand the blueprint behind that drawing. So how do you teach an AI to think like that architect instead of the painter? Well, the researchers behind a new system called SketchAgent came up with a really clever solution. They built an AI design team.
Yeah, instead of one giant do-it-all AI, SketchAgent uses what's called a multi-agent system. The easiest way to think about it is like a small, super efficient team where each member has a very specific job and they all work together to get your sketch to that final product.
So let's meet the team. First up, you've got the drafter. This agent takes your sketch and makes a first pass at turning it into code. Then the editor comes in and refines that draft based on any specific changes you want. But here's the secret sauce, the inspector. This agent is like quality control. It checks the code, compares it to your sketch, and if anything's wrong, it sends it back for revisions. It's this constant loop of drafting, editing, and checking that makes the whole system so reliable.
An awesome concept is one thing, but how does it actually perform in the real world? To find out, the researchers put SketchAgent right up against some of the biggest names in AI. And you can't test something like this on just a handful of examples. So, they built a massive new data set from scratch, called the Sketch-2 Diagram Benchmark. We're talking over 6,000 unique challenges here, covering everything from simple flowcharts to really complex software architectures. They wanted to make sure the test was tough, but fair. Which of course sets up the big question. You've got this specialized three-agent team. How does it stack up against a massive general-purpose model that everybody knows, something like GPT-4o? Is specialization really better?
The results are, well, they're pretty clear. These numbers show the Pass 1 score, which basically just measures how often the AI gets it right on the very first try. GPT-4o scores a respectable 51.12, but SketchAgent, 82.34, and that's not just a small improvement, that is a massive leap in accuracy. It really suggests that for this specific kind of task, a specialized team approach is way more reliable.
Okay, so SketchAgent is clearly powerful. But let's be real, no technology is perfect. It's super important to have a balanced view, to look at where this could be amazing and also where its current limitations are.
I mean, the potential here is huge. Just imagine engineers or architects instantly digitizing their whiteboard sessions, or educators creating clear instructional diagrams right on the fly. It could streamline the workflow in pretty much any field that relies on visual communication. But the researchers are very upfront about the system's flaws. And that's a good thing, because by understanding where it fails, we can learn how to use it more effectively and see where it needs to get better.
All right, the first common error is about the big picture. The AI might draw all the individual boxes and circles correctly, but it arranges them in the wrong way. It fails to grasp the overall structure you sketched. It kind of sees the trees, but totally misses the forest.
The next issue is kind of the opposite problem, fumbling the details. So here, the overall layout might be perfect, but the AI misreads your handwriting, or it uses the wrong shape for a certain element, or it messes up a font style. The structure's there, but the little components are flawed.
And finally, And this is probably the most important one. The AI can get the connections wrong. It might draw an arrow from the wrong box or just miss a link entirely. This is the most critical error because it breaks the fundamental logic of the diagram, which kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Now, knowing these limitations is actually super helpful, because by understanding where the AI struggles, we can learn how to make sketches that are easier for it to understand in the first place. And this leads to a few simple best practices. So, based on that error analysis, here's a little guide for making your sketches AI-friendly. First, draw clearly. Avoid squiggly circles or kinda sorta squares. The more distinct your shapes, the better. Second, connect precisely. Don't let your arrows just trail off into space. Make it obvious which two things they're connecting. And third, separate your text. Write your labels next to the shapes, not inside them. It helps avoid confusing the AI.
Okay, let's pause for a quick check-in here. To lock in the main idea, what's the key difference we talked about between an AI that generates a picture and one that builds a diagram? The answer, and honestly the most important thing to take away from all this, is that a picture AI cares about pixels and looks. A diagram AI has to understand logic and relationships. SketchAgent isn't just copying your drawing, it's trying to reverse engineer your idea. And that brings me to my final thought for you. Forget all the technical details for a second. How would a tool that can instantly and accurately digitize your brainstorms, how would that change the way you create, the way you collaborate, the way you innovate? Let us know what you think in the comments.